Hi everyone, my name is Mustafa. Welcome to our new playlist titled Creating and Managing Cloud Spanner Database. Are you all ready to dive into the world of Cloud Spanner, Google's cutting edge, fully managed and horizontally scalable relational database service? Whether you're in financial service, gaming, or the retail industry, or any other industry demanding top tier performance, Cloud Spanner is the go-to solution for those critical workloads where consistency and availability at scale are non-negotiable. In today's exciting lab, I'm going to guide you through the essential administrative tasks within a Cloud Spanner instance, ready to unlock the power of this remarkable database service as I explore its capabilities and show you how to navigate the administrative landscape. So buckle up, hit the like and subscribe button, and let's embark on this Cloud Spanner adventure together. The objective for this lab are create an instance, create a database, create tables, identify and modify data, use the Google Cloud command line interface with Cloud Spanner, use automation tools with Cloud Spanner, and finally delete an instance. So as expected, we'll start our lab. I'm not a robot. I'm going to launch the lab with the required credits. So we would open our lab in an incognito window. Then we'll copy the password. Next. Paste your password here. Then I understand this. So it's loading my Google Cloud dashboard that I'll be using for this project. And here I am. So I'm just going to go over this and agree to the terms and condition. So that's for now. So these are the setup and requirements that are needed for this lab. And we have covered that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to activate our Cloud Shell. And after activating our Cloud Shell, would list the active account name. After listing the active account name, then we can also list the project ID that we are going to use for this lab. So let's go back to our dashboard. From here, we activate the Cloud Shell. So we would wait for our Cloud Shell instance to get provisioned. And after it has provisioned our Cloud Shell instance is also going to connect to that instance. So here we are. Our first command, gcloud auth list to list our active account here. Authorize this. So you can see our account, which is the one that was specified for us. Then gcloud config list project. And this is also our project ID that they ask us to use, which is the same thing here. So after doing that, let's keep going. For task 1, we want to create an instance. So typically, all Cloud Spanner database has to be on an instance. So we have to first create an instance before we can create a database on that instance. So let's go ahead and do that. Under our navigation menu, let's go to Cloud Spanner. So under databases, you see the spanner. Click on spanner. After clicking on spanner, let's create a provisioned instance. So our instance name, we are going to use the configuration as required by this lab. Our instance name is banking instance. Then we have a regional. They ask us to use ES Central 1. So ES Central 1. So you feel free to use a region that is closer to your infrastructure or your customers. So we are using nodes and the quantity is 1 as specified here. So we can create. So we are creating. Let's wait for our instance to get created. So our instance has been created, and now you can see we have the option to create a database. But let's just keep going by the instruction. So the next thing we want to do is to create a database, and this is the configuration of our database. They want us to use banking-db as the name of our database. So let's create a database. So input your name here, which is banking-db, and we can just leave this for now and click create. So it's creating our database for us, and you would see that it will be an empty database because there's no data on it at the moment. So our database has been created, and now it's going to take us back to the overview page. So here we are, and this is our database. There's nothing on it at the moment, so it's still all dry. So you can evaluate your progress as you are completing the tasks. For task 3, you want to create a table in our database. We've created an instance, we've created a database in that instance. So now let's create a table in the database. To do that, we'll just copy this DDL command, the SQL statement, to create a table. And under create table, you can click just create a table. Loading, I just got this. So this is the typical format to create a table. So you create the table, then you put the table name here, the column name that you want to be created, and the column type. Is it a string? Is it an integer? You can add multiple column here, and you would also choose your primary key. I think that's probably optional, but let's get started. Yeah. So here we are. Create table. The table name we are creating is customer. So we have 3 columns here, which is the customer ID, which is a string, and we want 36 characters to be inside the string. We have a name, string. It is also, it can be as much as possible. Location, we also want string, and that's it. So here is our DDL command, and you can click on submit after inputting your DDL command. So you can see that it's updating the command that we are creating. And after that, you can take a look at our table. You'd see that our table has been created. Let's go to the Spanner Studio so that we can see if we have anything at the moment on our table. So let's do a select star from customer. This is just basic SQL code. The name of our table is customer. So run the command, and you see that this query did not return any row. That's because our table is empty. So let's fill in some data into our table. So we've done this part. You can also evaluate your progress. So let's insert and modify data into our table in our database. So with this command, we will say insert into. So take note that we have 3 columns. We created 3 columns when we were creating the table. So insert into customer, which is the name of the table. And these are the columns in the table: the customer ID, the name, the location. And these are the corresponding values that we want to enter inside each of this entry. So for the customer ID, for this entry, is going to put this. For the name, it's going to put Richard Nelson. For the location, it's going to put Idaho, Ohio. So look at this customer ID. It's 36 string. When we were setting the schemas, we input 36. So if it's more than 36, it's going to throw an error. Copy this, go back to our editor, paste this here, and click run. When you click run, it's going to okay, yeah. So I copied it wrongly. I'm supposed to remove the first command, the one I used to check if the table has any data. So let's click on run. So you can see it inserted 1 row and did not return any row, because this is just an insert command. We are not asking this to return any value. It's just an insert command. Okay, so let's insert another one. Clean this, paste the new one, insert once again. So it has inserted another row. And we can also insert in bulk, so you don't necessarily have to insert once. You can insert by adding comma beside the values. So let's try to insert 2 more entries together. This will be like just personal entries that I'm just going to use, so it's not a requirement for this lab. So I'll just copy this once again. Paste it after the comma, and I'm just going to edit this a little bit so that it can be a little bit different. Don't forget that you have to use 36 characters. So I'll change this part to change this one here. Then I'll change the name. Here's me changing the name, like subscribe. Change this name again to share, comment, and for the location I just put GCP. So here I just like test entries. So let's run the command. So we have a value that exceeded the minimum value, which is supposed to be 36, 37 here. So let's see where the mistake is. It's from this one. This should be 4 string. Let's click on again, and you can see this statement inserted 2 rows and did not return any row. So it's an insert statement. So if you want to even add more, instead of adding one by one, you can always put comma beside it and paste in your location for your values. So that's regarding the insert. So let's take a look at what we inserted and see if it actually entered into the table. So let's go select star from customers. So because this table is not much, that's why I'm doing a select star. So if it's a very large table, you can just specify the columns that you are interested in and run that. So let's click on run. So you can see the values that we inputted here. These are the one given to us by the lab, and this is the one that I doctored on my own. So we are good to go with inserting data into the lab. For task 5, you want to use the Google Cloud command line interface with Cloud Spanner. So we want to create a Cloud Spanner database from the command line interface. So like I said, for each database you want to create, you have to create an instance for it. So because since I'm using the command line interface, I also want to create a new instance. So that's not compulsory. You can use the pre-existing instance that you have, that you've created before, and just go ahead and create the database directly from the command line interface. But because I also want us to see how to create an instance from using the command line, we'll just do that. So this is the command to create instances from the command line interface. That's from the Cloud Shell. So the command is simple: gcloud spanner instances create. So the name of your instance will be here, and for the configuration, you use the region that you want. Is it a regional configuration or a multi-regional, and you'd specify the zone. For the description, this will be the name of the instance. For the nodes, you'd set the amount of nodes you want. So that's pretty simple to do. Copy the command, come back here. Let's go back to our Cloud Shell. So let's cancel out of this and just drag this up. So here we are on our Cloud Shell. Paste this command. So this is our instance ID. This is the configuration, our instance name, and the amount of node that we want. So click enter. And these are typically the values that we also specified when we were creating it from using the dashboard. So here we are. That's created it. The next thing we want to do is we want to list their instances that we have on this particular GCP project. So it's using G-Cloud Spanner instances list. When you click on it, we should see two instances, the one we created before and the one we just created now. So you can see it here, banking instance and banking instance too. You can also view that from the navigation menu when you go to overview. So this is one instance that we have. Let's go back to the Cloud Spanner from scratch, and you can see the two instances. This is the one we just created now. This is the one we had before. So we are good to go. Let's keep following the instruction. So after we've created an instance, it would create a database once again. And the command for creating a database from the command line interface is G-Cloud Spanner databases create, then the name of the database that you want, and the instance that you want the database to get created in. So banking instance 2, which is the instance that we just created now. So if you want to direct it to the previous one, you just use the instance name here. So copy this command, paste it here, click on enter. So it's loading. We'll wait for it to complete loading. So it's creating our database, and now our database is done. So to also view the database, when we click on the instance that we created the database, you should see it. So this is the instance that we use, the banking instance 2. Click into it, instance. So you can see the database here, banking -db-2, which is what we used there. So we are good to go. Let's check our progress. So we are still on track. So you can also modify the number of nodes that you used for the database. So let's say your workload reduced and you want to scale down a little bit. So just copy this, paste it here. So this is G-Cloud Spanner instances update. So you're updating the instance and you specify the instance name that you want to update. So this is the instance name you want to update, banking instance 2. And you specify the new amount of nodes. Before we were using 2, now we are taking it back to 1. So enter, and it should update the number of nodes on our instance. You can see it's working on it, and it is done. It is done. So if you also want to take a look at that, if this is the instance, you can see it's still 2 here. So when I refresh this page, it should go back to 1. Refresh from the browser. So it has refreshed, and now you can see that the processing units is now 1000 and the nodes is now 1. So the node is 1. So one node is equals to 1000 processing units. So let's go back to our Cloud Shell. So because we refresh the browser, it will connect to our previous database, our previous Cloud Shell, and you can see that it's recovered an existing session. So we are fine. Just going to dismiss this, and the next thing I want to do is let's also view the instance list. So the same thing we checked from the navigation menu, let's check it again using the command line. So it shows, you can see that it shows the instance name that we have for the first one, which is just 1 node as before. So for the second one was 2 nodes before, but we changed it to 1 node, and now it's 1 node. So instead of going to the navigation menu, you can also go through the command line interface to view most of the configurations or the settings that you want to see. Yes, so we are done with that. And for task 6, so task 6 is an optional task. We are going to use an automation tool to create a Cloud Spanner instance, and the automation tool we are going to be using is Terraform. So just a little bit about Terraform. Terraform enables users to safely and predictably create, change, and improve infrastructure. It is an open source tool that codifies API into declarative configuration files that can be shared among team members, treated as code, edited, reviewed, and versioned. Terraform was developed by the HashiCorp organization, and it is basically used to automate the development of infrastructure using infrastructure as a code. So we'll be creating a database instance just by using configuration files and you see that it's typically simple. When we've set our configuration files, we'll have it on, would save it on a folder, and after that we'll do a Terraform initialize, a Terraform plan, and a Terraform apply, and our code will get set up. So let's get started. The Terraform comes pre-installed with the Cloud Shell. So let's see the Terraform version that we're currently on for our Cloud Shell. Paste this here, click on enter. So the Terraform version we are currently working on is version 1.6.3 on Linux AMD64. So we are good. So the next thing would save our configuration file into a folder, and the folder we are using here is nanospanner.tf. So we are using the the nano editor. So click here, you have nanospanner. So this is where we would paste the configuration file for our database that we are just creating. So just copy this command here, paste it here, and you can see this is the resource type, the Google Cloud Spanner instance. This is the name of the instance that we are creating. So the name here is also banking instance. The config, this is the configuration that we are using. Is it a regional, is it multi-regional, and the zone that it is. The display name, banking instance 3. The number of nodes, we are using 2 nodes for this one, and the labels also. So after we've done that, we can just save our file by using Ctrl X, then Y for yes, and then enter. After we've saved our configuration file, the next thing we want to do is let's initialize the Terraform. After initialize the Terraform, then we can now work towards deploying it. So let's just do a Terraform init. So when we do a Terraform init, it will initialize our Terraform. Then we can do a Terraform plan. The Terraform plan will show us an high-level overview of the resources that will get created when you run Terraform apply. So you can see this is our Google Spanner instance with the instance name, and these are the configurations that are going to be created with it. So if we want to go ahead, then we'll use Terraform apply. So we have to it's also showing us once again, and we'll just click on yes. So it's creating our instance. You can see that this is pretty simple. So it has created 1 new resources. So that's typically how to automate deployment of an instance with Terraform. And you can also, let's view the instances that we have at the moment. So it should be 3 because we've just added a new one. So here are the 3 instances we have. We have the banking instance, the banking instance _2, and we have the banking instance 3, which is the one. This is the one we created using the navigation menu. This is the one we created using the command line interface, and we edited the amount of nodes back to 1. This is the one we created using Terraform, and it's 2. It is also 2 here, and each of these instances they are ready. They are in a ready state and they are provisioned. So that's typically how to go about that. So you can also delete instances that you don't want again. So to delete an instance, you use this command. So Qwiklabs spanner instances, then delete, then the name of the instance that you want to delete. So when I delete this instance, the next time I run this command, this banking instance 2 should have get deleted and should not be present again. So let's run this command. So do I want to delete? Yes. So let's wait for it to delete the instance. Okay, it's deleted. So let's run the previous command once again, which is Qwiklabs spanner instances list. So you can see the amount of instances that get returned as reduced to 2, which is the banking instance and the banking instance 3. So we deleted this other one. So I think that's the end for this lab, and we are pretty good to go. So this lab is pretty basic, and we're just doing some basic administrative actions. So stay along with us while we do more lab under this playlist, and you'd go from beginner to intermediate level in Cloud Spanner. So thanks very much for joining through. If you enjoyed the lab, make sure you smash the like button, comment your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can always get the notification when I create new labs. Bye for now. See you in our next lab. Thank you.